This is not a test. I'd like to call to order the Charter Township of Oxford Board of Trustees regular meeting for Wednesday, August 10th, 2020. Would we all please rise and pay respects to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Noting of the roll.
Noted.
Okay. We have 2 off tonight, but that was pre-planned. Approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with the following deletions. Items 11B and 11F.
Second.
Motion by Treasurer Ferrari, seconded by Trustee Colvin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none. Approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari and a second by Clerk Wright. Roll call, please.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Item number 6, public comment on items not on the agenda. Are there anybody from the public who would like to make any comments on any items that are not on the agenda? Yes.
Good evening, Brian Cloutier, Oxford Public Library. I just wanted to address the board this evening to bring you up to date on a couple of things that are taking place at the library that you may or may not be aware of. We did recently vote, or I shouldn't say we, the board recently voted. I'm the director, but the board recently voted to approve an overhaul to our HVA infrastructure. As you know, that was one of our concerns that we had when we were going for a bond. Because the bond failed doesn't mean that we still don't have to address those concerns. So the board did vote to completely overhaul, removing and replacing the rooftop units, both boilers, our automated controls, our VAVs, the main infrastructure for the heating and cooling system for the entire library. That infrastructure costs $287,235. That money will be reallocated from our fund reserve to handle that. So that's one of the things. Now, I just want to make note to the public that as you come in and out of our building in the coming weeks, you're going to see a lot of contractors in and around the building on ladders doing work. You're also going to see or feel a fluctuation in temperature from day to day. Hopefully we're going to get that stabilized. Right now the boilers are completely replaced. They're not running obviously at this point, but the new boilers are in place. The electrical, or not electrical, but the all the wiring for the new controls and everything are all in place. The infrastructure's there. We're just waiting on rooftop units to come in, and that's a supply chain problem that we're dealing with. But as soon as we get that, we anticipate within the next 8 to 10 weeks we'll be firing everything up in its new capacity. The other thing I want to share with you is we're excited to be bringing the Marguerite D'Angeli exhibit to the Oxford Public Library. Marguerite D'Angeli is a children's author a Newbery Award winner from the native of Lapeer area, who wrote a number of books over the years and also illustrated. We're able to bring her entire archive to our library to have on exhibit, and that should arrive mid-October and be with us through the end of the year. So if you want to bring your family in and take a look at that, I think you'd be really excited about that. We're also bringing William Anderson, author from the Lapeer area as well, who wrote on a number of people, but one individual being Marguerite D'Angeli. He will be coming and we'll be having an author talk and book signing. The other thing that I wanted to share with you, just so that you're aware, I'm aware of what your time schedule is, and we will be holding our budget hearing next week, and the board, if pending there are no issues, will be approving that budget, and it'll be forwarded on to you for processing. And then likewise, we did all of our posting for that, so we're in compliance. We are going to be undertaking major strategic planning this year. This fall, we've engaged the services of the Ivy Group out of Virginia to come and help us with that process. We're very excited. We want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want to know what we don't know that we don't know. So anybody that's interested in taking part in that process, we welcome you to play a role in that. And our consultants and our board will be reaching out to you as trustees and officials in the township to solicit your input as well through that process. And we will make sure that we follow all procedures to make sure that your information is trusted and secure and anonymous as well. So we just want to hear the truth, things that you have, issues that you have, things that you want to see. But we also encourage you to play a role in the process with us as we walk through that. And if you're interested in doing that, or anyone from the public interested in playing a role in that, they can contact me at 248-628-3034, extension 211, and we'll get you on the list. One other thing I want to share with you is that we're also very aware that the community is still in a healing process of what happened. And I don't think, quite honestly, we're ever going to be out of that, and rightfully so. But the library understands that we can also play a role in helping the community come together and find some comfort in these very troubling times. And so we have actually engaged the services. We've asked to keynote a series of workshops that we're going to have over the next year. Dr. Gretchen Moran Marsh, who is a clinical psychologist out of the Franklin area, very well known speaker to a lot of different organizations. She will be coming in to deliver our opening keynote address on mental wellness and breaking the stigma and finding solutions. We're also bringing in Dr. Lee Meadows. Dr. Meadows is a very well-known speaker in the business circuit, but he's also someone who gets people thinking at a different level and engaging in dialogue. And we've asked Dr. Meadows to deliver our opening keynote address on civility and restoring trust. All of that information with the dates are going to be in the newsletter that should be landing in your mailbox sometime this weekend. Let's see. I also have concerns, as you probably know, on a totally different level, with the uncertainties, I guess, from my perspective as an administrator, about the changes in the minimum wage setup. Some of you probably read that court recently overruled and made some changes to the schedule that was supposed to go out, I think, until 2030, I think, is when the $12 minimum wage was supposed to be fully enacted. A court recently made some changes to that law. I think it's in a stay right now to figure out how we're going to address that. But I think if it goes in the direction I believe it's going to go, the $12 minimum wage will roll out sometime in February. In addition to that, there was the state legislature had once, in working through their process in adapting the law, also in making that staggered step, put into place a ruling that would exempt businesses of 50 or less employees from having to offer the sick benefits, prorated sick benefits. That also has been overturned, and we're looking at that as well. I'm working with my legal counsel to understand how that's going to come into play, but we'll make sure that we follow whatever protocol our legal counsel tells us to follow. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing none. Item 7A. Excuse me. Second reading, zoning ordinance 67A.029, zoning map amendments. A first reading was introduced at the July 13th Township Board meeting. This ordinance proposes several zoning map amendments affecting several parcels of property. Due to the size of the document, there was a separate file that was attached. Since then, you received an email asking us to be careful in case the county reviewed this and had some questions. I got a letter from Scott Cree from the senior planner at the planning division, and he makes two comments. Our review has found no borderline concerns of properties that are proposed to be rezoned, and based on the Oakland County PLBD staff interpretation of all information provided, submitted, and available, we recommend approval of County Code RZ 22-02. A detail of the report is contained herein. I have a copy of it. We can give you all a copy later. And secondly, staff recommendation based on the Oakland County's PLBD staff interpretation of the Oxford Township Master Plan and Zoning Ordinance, boundary coordination with adjacent municipality, and Oakland County Department of Economic Development Division of Planning and Local Business Development staff recommends approval of County Code number RZ 2202, a rezoning request of multiple properties to be rezoned to align with Oxford Township Master Plan, future land use, and correct map and zoning issues. So if there are no further questions,
I move to adopt the zoning map amendments to the Charter Township of Oxford zoning ordinance 67A as presented.
Second.
okay, I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Colvin. Any questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Trustee Colvin?
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. And Supervisor Curtis?
Yes. Item 8, Fire Department. Any issues tonight? Item 9, Sharp Engineering. Would you like to report out, Mr. Sharp?
Yeah, I can report out a couple things. One of them is the water main project that's on Drainer Road. We finally have everything in place for that, and that project is going out for bids here on October 16th. Bids will be due back.
August 16th.
It's August 16th, and bids will be due back on August 31st. Depending on the results of those bids, then we could be presenting something to you at your September meeting.
And that's the water main that connects Camp Oakland to M24 at the mobile station.
Yeah, Tullamore.
Yeah.
Tullamore down to there. Yep. Secondly, we have still been working through some things with MDOT with regards to fire station number 3. I mean, we're not building a structure yet there, but you've seen some preliminary things. I believe that MDOT is finally on board. They are just asking for some geotechnical investigation, some soil bores basically out in the median to make sure that the crossover that we're proposing can support the fire trucks and meets their standards. So our adjunct committee, I guess, of myself, I don't know if Pete's on it or it's Matt Majestic and John Nold are meeting on the 16th of this month in order to discuss that and potentially move that project forward with some clearing and land balancing. And then lastly, I received a call from the Oakland County Road Commission regarding the Maloney Street Bridge.
Good.
The gentleman's done very good. His name's Mason. He calls me, whenever there's a major milestone or something going on. The contractor apparently has lost their sheet pile subcontractor. So there's been no activity out there basically for the last week and a half. They're trying to get another sheet pile contractor on board. I don't know the ins and outs of it. The project, the road commission is still pushing, to get it done this year. However, in order to make up some of that time, they may be needing to work on Sundays. It's not official yet. I asked for something, if they do need to work on Sundays, to please let us know, and I would bring it to you, because I think that they would need approval from, I don't know if it's this board or exactly who it is, but we do not allow work on Sundays to occur without special approval. So just keeping you in on the loop right now. I mean, it's still progressing, but I did want to make a mention of that, and that's where it stands. So if you do get any calls as to why nothing has been happening out there, that would be the reason why.
Yes, sir.
What's the question about this?
Yes.
I know this is redundant, but what's the target finish date? Because I get questions because I live on the lake, so, and I go by there on occasion, and,
Basically the end of October.
okay. Yeah, I mentioned to Jack that I had seen them working diligently. I mean, there was a Saturday night, I was out there at 8 o'clock at night, and they were working, so I'm disappointed to hear that things kind of...
Yeah, they were cruising along. They built the temporary road on the north side. Everything was moving along very well. They took the old bridge out in a matter of like 1 or 2 days, and everything was cruising along, and then all of a sudden noticed nothing was happening. Our COC calls me and lets me know that apparently they're having problems with the sheet piling contractor now.
So we're still on target for end of October, though.
That is the target still, yes.
I mean,
Yep.
even this morning, I had a meeting with another group, and that was brought to my attention, and I thought, good timing.
Yep, end of October, and with, some things like restoration might fall to next year, because you're not going to grow grass and do things at that time of year, but that's still the target.
Anything on the SAD on M24?
The SAD on M24, we just keep proceeding with the engineering design.
You don't want to tell them that we went out and walked the manholes and...
Well, it sounds like you want to tell them that, so I guess I will. The Water and Sewer Committee, along with the WRC, we went out and we did, we've been doing our design, and we staked the manholes. We actually walked a good percentage of it, just so that everybody could see where it is. We will be needing some easements on that, which we knew from the beginning, but yeah, we're proceeding with that design as well.
I just want to keep the board up to speed. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any questions for Engineer Sharp? Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 10, unfinished business, we have none. Item 11, new business. 11A, fiscal year 2023 Township Board Budget Calendar. Supervisor Curtis. Okay, departments submit their budget recommendations to the supervisors department by July 29th to comply with MCL 42.25, 150 days from before the end of your fiscal year. We are going to have in your packet is a wrong calendar. It should say budget workshop at special board meeting on August 24th. A truth in lending hearing on August 24th. We'll notice that 7 days prior to the hearing. The Township Board at its regular meeting will adopt the 2023 budget, and the millage request support report will go to Oakland County Equalization for the Form 114029 on September 14th. Are there any questions?
Would you mind repeating that, please? Or you want to send an email correcting it so I can put it on my calendar? Or?
Sure, I can repeat it. There's a budget workshop, a special board meeting on August 24th, and then the rest remains the same as it is in your package. The standard board meeting will be, standard township board meeting, September 14th.
Time?
6:30.
6:30 for all the meetings.
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the 2023 Charter Township of Oxford budget calendar as presented, and set a Charter Township of Oxford Board of Trustees special meeting for 6:30 Wednesday, August 24th, 2022.
Second.
Moved by, motion by Treasurer Ferrari, seconded by Trustee Colvin. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing none. We'll move on to item 11C, Oxford Township holidays. Board members, per the employee handbook, if a holiday falls on Sunday, we're setting this for 2023. Two problems. Christmas Eve this year falls on Sunday, and Christmas Day falls on Monday. So, per the employee handbook, if a holiday falls on a Sunday, it will generally be observed the following Monday, which in this case, 2023 Christmas Day falls on Monday, December 25th, 2023. The township needs to provide direction on how Christmas Eve will be observed.
I move that due to Christmas Eve falling on Sunday, December 24th, 2023, that the holiday be observed on Tuesday, December 26th, 2023. Further, the Charter Township of Oxford shall observe the Juneteenth holiday beginning in 2023.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, and I have some discussion. I really didn't get to address the Juneteenth holiday, but I've had some concerns voiced to me in the community and in our building that Juneteenth holiday is observed by Oakland County. It is a federal holiday. Other townships are deciding what they want to do. Many of the townships around us elected not to observe Juneteenth. Some have elected to return 8 hours of a floating holiday to observe either President's Day, Veterans Day, or Juneteenth to their flavor. As you remember, back in 2021, we took 8 hours of personal time away, and one of the options for Juneteenth is to give back the 8 personal hours and allow that to move forward as the holiday. So before we vote on this motion that's on the floor, keep that in mind, that that is another option rather than closing the building down for the Juneteenth holiday in 2023. So I'll call the roll.
Well, we have discussion first.
Sure, we can have discussion first.
Well, my comment would be is these are two unrelated items. Why are they in one resolution? It doesn't make sense from a procedural standpoint.
Well, I can make sense for you.
Go ahead.
It's all in the employee handbook, and this is where this came out of. So, yes, you're right. We should have clarified it a little before we read the motion, but it's all in the handbook, so it can all be done in one motion.
And it's all.
It seems to me it should be two separate issues. We're talking about Christmas holiday and this other potential holiday too. They're unrelated.
Okay, then I'll call the roll.
Treasurer Ferrari,
Yes.
Trustee Charles,
No.
Trustee Colvin,
Yes.
Clerk Wright, no, and Supervisor Curtis.
No.
I move that due to Christmas Eve falling on Sunday, December 24th, 2023, that the holiday be observed on Tuesday, December 26th, 2023.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Colvin. Roll call.
Trustee Colvin,
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari,
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis,
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes, and Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Now to address the Juneteenth holiday. Again, the federal holiday is June 19th. If it falls on a Sunday, it's observed on a Monday. If it falls on a Saturday, it's observed on a Friday. There has been talk about other townships wanting to observe some of the other federal holidays, and they don't want to observe, they want to have more discretion in observing the holidays of their choice. So one of the things is to do either A, observe Juneteenth holiday beginning in 2023 and adding it to the handbook, or a possible suggestion is returning 8 hours as a floating holiday to the employees to take on the day of their choice rather than observing June 19th as a holiday. So I'm offering that suggestion. If anybody else has a better suggestion or a motion, I'll listen. Yes, sir.
No motion yet, but we'd have to institute this in the handbook. That's a
Yes.
floating holiday.
Yes.
Okay.
Any questions down there, Catherine?
It just seems simpler to me to just leave it all on the same day.
I agree.
It's,
Okay. Look for a motion.
I'll make a motion that the Charter Township of Oxford shall observe the Juneteenth holiday beginning in 2023.
second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Colvin. Are there any questions? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Charles?
No.
Clerk Wright? No. Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Trustee Colvin?
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis?
No. So, as it stands, how about we'll try this motion? The Charter Township of Oxford shall add 8 hours personal time as a floating holiday to observe the holiday of the choice of the individual, Juneteenth, Veterans Day, or President's Day, beginning in calendar year 2023.
I'll second the motion for discussion.
Okay, discussion?
I have a question. Isn't Veterans Day already a holiday?
Not observed by Oxford Township.
It is.
It is now?
Yeah.
Okay, President's Day is not.
Correct. President's Day is not.
Okay. I stand corrected. Won't be the first mistake I made today. Any other questions? Yes, Clerk Wright.
Just a thought here that, if it is observed, what do the elected officials do if all employees want that day off?
That's a discretion and any personal time to use at any holiday or personal day off of the department head.
To grant that day off?
Yes.
One other thing too.
Yes.
If they choose not to take that holiday off, do they lose it?
No.
Will they get paid out for it? If
They
work?
take it another day.
Let me say they,
Because it's gonna go back up to a 48-hour personal time off.
okay, so you have the option of personal time off, holiday or holiday.
Yeah,
Those three choices.
yes,
And that'll be reworded through the handbook through our attorney?
yes.
Okay.
Who was the motion made by? Me. And who seconded it?
Clerk Wright.
Clerk Wright did.
Seconded by Clerk Wright. Roll call, please.
One more discussion. Based upon the motion that has Veterans Day included in it, we should probably amend that motion,
Okay,
okay? So what we'll recommend it to do is to vote this motion down and then reintroduce a new motion.
okay. Call the
That's the
roll.
recommendation. Trustee Colvin,
No.
Treasurer Ferrari,
No.
Supervisor Curtis,
No.
Clerk Wright, no, and Trustee Charles.
No.
Okay, we'll try this motion then. The Charter Township of Oxford will raise its personal time off to 48 hours, allowing the employees to make the determination on either of the holidays we do not pay for, and should be sufficient by their department head to allow them to take the time off for those 8 hours, otherwise using them as personal hours.
Jack, are you done? A question when you're all set.
Got a second?
I'll second.
Oh, second, I'm sorry.
Second, go ahead.
I thought I heard the second, I apologize. So, could you explain to me then, so how this works with personal hours? So this is in lieu of existing hours we have in the
Yes.
manual?
Now, what it is right now is we have 40 hours of personal time for our employees. If an employee feels Juneteenth holiday is best served by observing it, we can allow that 8 hours of personal time to be used for it, just as we would for President's Day or another day of that employee's choice.
Could that also be personal time, just be any reason, like a birthday too?
Yes,
So it's not increasing, it's just replacing.
yes,
So 40 hours, just how it's categorized.
yes,
Okay, so when someone fills out a form, I'm gonna take my birthday off, or I can put Juneteenth on there.
right.
That's the extra 8 hours they're gonna have.
You said extra, and then you said the same 40 hours. So we talking 48 hours, you're talking 40 hours.
48 hours.
So you're increasing it then?
Yes. We decreased it in 2021. And now the motion would be to increase it back to 2021. Okay, roll call?
Clerk Wright, yes. Supervisor Curtis,
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari,
No.
Trustee Colvin,
Yes.
and Trustee Charles.
No.
Motion carried. 3-2.
Okay, so we got some work to do. All right, condenser coil replacement. Currently, attached emails from Capella Heating and Cooling indicating that the air conditioning coil on the unit that services the Oxford substation has a leak and requires replacement. Right now, we are cooling the entire building with one coil from upstairs from our part of the building. So we're gonna replace the AC and bring it back up to standards so we don't blow up both coils. So I'm looking for $6,742 to replace the AC coil.
Jack Meadsmith doesn't know anything about this kind of stuff. Is that a reasonable price?
It's a reasonable price.
I move to approve the estimate from Capella Heating and Air Conditioning dated July 11th, 2022, the amount of $6,742. Authorize Supervisor Jack Curtis to sign the estimate on behalf of the Charter Township of Oxford.
I'll second
The
that.
$6,742 amount to be expensed to account 101-265-931.000, Maintenance, Building and Grounds.
I'll second that again.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Charles. Questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Item 11E, fire hydrant painting request for sending out for bids. The Water and Sewer Committee met. We have been, I want to use the word asking Chief Pete, when we get the fire hydrants painted, when are we getting it painted, we've asked ad nauseum. What we've done in the past is we've used trustees from the Oakland County Jail, we have used probationary firefighters, and we have used paid-on-call firefighters. At this time, we cannot use trustees from the jail. We are having a hard time finding firefighters, and when they're out painting a fire hydrant, it's kind of hard to get them into an ambulance to run. There are approximately 800 fire hydrants in Oxford. Chief tells the Water and Sewer Committee that he's painted approximately 100, and we need approximately 700 fire hydrants painted. We have no idea what it's going to cost us, or if there's a contractor out there interested in doing it. So what we're asking this board is approval to go out for a contractor for painting of the fire hydrants, and we would come back to the Charter Township regular board meeting with our findings.
I move to authorize Supervisor Jack Curtis, Oxford Fire Chief Pete Schultz, to create and solicit a request for proposal for painting the fire hydrants in Oxford Township and present a recommendation to approve a contractor at a future Charter Township of Oxford regular board meeting.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Charles. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing none. Okay, Compensation Committee. An employee evaluation committee needs to be appointed to review the employee performance evaluation and provide recommendations to the Township Board. And the following motion is offered. I move to appoint Supervisor Jack Curtis and Trustee Catherine Colvin to the Oxford Township Evaluation Committee.
I will second that.
I have a motion by Supervisor Curtis, a second by Treasurer Ferrari. Are there any questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes.
Okay. Item 12, nothing was removed. Item 13, public comment on items not on the, public comment at this time. Seeing none. Item,
Supervisor,
oh,
just
yes.
a quick thing,
Sure.
I promise. Several months ago, I was here and asked if there was any assistance the township could give the library in having the signs, the directional signage replaced. Did we ever find out anything on that, or was there anything?
Respond to this public comment, or
Trustee comment.
I'll address that.
Oh, okay. So you'll follow up with me later, is what you're
No,
saying?
I'll follow up with you in about 2 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. Board of Trustee comments. I have 2 comments. One, I talked to the safety engineers at MDOT. Joe Medora has talked to the safety engineers at MDOT. Kelly Westbrook has talked to them. They will not put the wayfinding signs back up for the library. They call it a nuisance, if you will. God forbid we find the library, but what they say is there's too much on one sign, police station, library. It's a visual aid problem, and they will not change their policy. I talked to everybody from the person who did the work, Brian Travis, all the way Stacy Gow, Tom Pelosa. I went way up the ladder. So did Joe Medora and a few other folks in town, and they are not going to do it.
Okay, can we follow up with them to see if they'll put them at Drainer Road then?
Sure.
Because I understand their concern, I get it, but this is setting precedent because other communities on 24 have them.
Yep.
And if they don't like them downtown, then put them up on Drainer Road.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Since I started, I've got one comment tonight. Clerk Wright and I met with Attorney Gary Rentrop on Monday at 10 o'clock. Gary Rentrop is retiring. So is Susan Morrison. They're going to close Rentrop and Morrison. They're going to go to work in the interim to clean anything up in our township and work with another firm so the billing can come in if we use them on contract. But I want to remind everybody that an attorney pool approval was given to this committee, or given to this board on May 12th to utilize 4 firms, one which was including the Rentrop Morrison, but the other 3 firms, number 1, Butzel Long, number 2, the Kelly firm, number 3, Atkins, Needle, Allen, and Rentrop. In the event that any one of those would go away, we would send the work to the specialty attorneys that we can use. So at this time, we met with Gary. We made him buy us lunch. We got some of our money back. He reluctantly, he said, and I'll quote, his financial advisor planned him to retire out to 80. This was when he was 65. He said he believes that he has enough to live out to 100. So he's going to try to do that and enjoy life. And Susan Morrison is retiring also, and it was not told where she's going. So we do have attorney representation. Butzel Long has done HR work for us. The Kelly firm has done some safety path work for us, some easement work. They do our prosecution work. Atkins, Need, Allen, Rentrop has done marijuana work and tax tribunal work. So we have 3 firms that we can use from the pool, and I, as the legal agent of the township, will be calling one of the 3. I'm going to firm up what their prices are now that they're with us specifically. We need to know for billing purposes. So we want to wish and welcome Gary to retirement. Hopefully he enjoys himself. He's still going to work with the Mackinac Island history folks in preserving the island, and stop working down here.
I think we're in good hands.
That's what I had. Trustee Charles.
Couple things that, there's some small issues from committee meetings from the DDA. We've talked about things like within the DDA district, some cohesiveness, because there's parts of the DDA gets left out of some of our activities, so we're working on that. Look at my notes here. That's a big thing. The other thing I'll mention too, by the way, it's called Washington Square. I don't remember the address off the top of my head. Maybe somebody else does, but that's been a real victory for the DDA in terms of community promotion, community activities. Thursdays, by the way, we have the concerts in the park, and that's been greatly improved this past year over the last few years. Attendance as well as the quality of the entertainment. So I'd encourage everyone to be there if you could. It's been fun. We also have the farmers market there. And one of the things we did before we set up the farmer's market, we made certain that it did not conflict with Parks and Recreation, you know, out of courtesy to our friends and neighbors. So this Thursday night, if you get a chance, come on to the concerts in the park, the farmer's market, and there is a little get-together after the concerts in the park as well at the Washington Square. So there we have it.
Thank you. Clerk Wright.
Yeah, just want to again reiterate the success of our election that we just had for the primary. It went pretty smooth. All of our precincts balanced out, and we're ready to take on additional absentee ballot applications for the November election. Just also, I don't know if you noticed in the MTA Focus magazine, but there's a lot of legislative changes that are proposed in Lansing. Right now, there's 26 House and Senate bills that do affect elections in some sort or another, such as taking the millage to be only for the November election, combining the primary to be a June election versus May and August. So those are just a couple highlights in there, but there's several in there. So MTA monitors those and reports back to us, but there's a lot of changes proposed for elections, so we'll see how that affects us locally and across the state. And plus, all clerks were just served with a FOIA request on the just completed primary election across the state, so we're dealing with that. And maybe one of our new attorneys could help in the FOIA process. Thank you.
Let's go down to Trustee Colvin.
Okay. Well, first, I just want to thank everyone that voted for me in the August primary. And please vote again if you can do so. Second, I'm not sure if everyone heard more DDA information. Last month, the DDA was awarded a grant of $250,000 from DTE to improve the look of the downtown area. We're working on the backs of the buildings. But if anybody sees Ashley Ross or Kelly Westbrook, thank them. They're the ones that did all the work. So pretty exciting news for us. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Treasurer Ferrari?
I want to wish Attorney Rentrop and Attorney Morrison good luck in their retirements, and I think with our pool of attorneys, we're still in good hands. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other questions? I look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Colvin. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing none,
Yeah.
we are adjourned.